He's dedicated me to leading this panel discussion. So we still target 12:35 to finish, so everybody can have a lunch. So it's a quick discussion. I start first. 这个在中间那个
During the break, there was a lady, Madame Li, asked me a question. She was doing bottling and packaging, and she felt frustrated because the order of her customers or clients was huge, and the inventory level was very high, occupying her cash. And the payment cycle is 6 to 9 months. And her clients are big clients such as Bao Steel, and the order of her clients are really very high, and she felt very huge pressure, and such phenomenon is quite common here. Alfred yesterday said that partial excellence is not total excellence or overall excellence. You can order a lot of, you can place a big order to your suppliers, and it seems that it saves your cost as a producer. However, it is a huge waste throughout the entire supply chain. So the topic of our panel discussion is supply relationships and collaboration. So if we break the walls of companies and analyze the entire supply chain, we can see waste in many areas. If we eliminate these areas, we can achieve a win-win situation, and response time to market will be shortened by a large margin. At the same time, in new product development, our suppliers sometimes are more professional than us, and their expertise and skills can help us to develop our new products better and faster.
这一点呢，最重要的是信任。
In order to achieve that, we need to have trust. Let me give an example. I used to work in McDonald's. McDonald's runs more than 3,000 stores in China. And all of its distribution and production, they rely on suppliers. They only manage their stores. And none of their supplier has got a contract to work with. They work based on trustworthiness. If you have good performance, so much of your assignment. If you don't put up a good performance, then you don't have any work at all. But we also carry out audit on your performance on a regular basis. So suppliers for us, they are not our negotiating parties. They are our partners. And at Mars, many of the new products were realized because of the support accorded to us by the suppliers. So faster time to market. You may have also realized a little while ago, I worked with many of our suppliers on how to reduce the cost end to end. And I remember a few years ago, there was some significant increase in the cost, and our suppliers' margin was squeezed. They wanted to have a raise, but we worked together. Eventually, we shared the profit. So much of a little bit of my leading introduction. Okay, I'll hand over to you guys. Maybe say a few things. I really like this topic, as a matter of fact, the supply chain.
Same as my fellow colleague in the industry, sitting down there. This is actually a big topic. I think the real value of supply chain doesn't come from, in my opinion, obviously I'm a provider, right? That can come from the fact that you can pressure your vendors to give you the lowest price. But that is actually a very fragmented way of actually looking at reducing your cost, right? I think in today's world, when we look at what the consumers want, they usually want to look at fast responsiveness, reliability, speed, the quality of the products going there. And we talk a lot about end-to-end, in this whole thing. So the question is that if you keep pressuring suppliers or logistics providers or things to just give you the lowest cost, how do you produce that end-to-end effect is a question mark. Right? You might get the most cost-effective options for certain segments, but as a total cost, as a total service level to your customers, you had a bigger problem. I think in my many years in the logistics industries, I do realize that things has actually changed quite a bit. That the collaboration model is becoming more and more apparent. Not only from us with our customers, but even us with our providers. The lady just now was asking about packaging equipments, right? I'm actually working with a provider called Goodpack. I'm not too sure whether some of you have heard about it. It is these guys that use 1-point-something meter, 1-point-something meters, cast iron, containers that you can actually have packaging materials to just pour your beverages into it and then keep it for a while. I think in Australia they use it for tomato juice that they can store up to a year. Right? What's so good about these big containers is that the delivery of it, once you deliver to a certain places, it's collapsible. 1 to 6. So you deliver 1 bins there, they can collapse it and you can have 6 bins back based on the same cubic meters. In that case, you save a lot of logistics costs by doing so. Should DHL do that? Maybe, maybe not. But I think the speed of collaboration with all the suppliers, even for ourselves and our customers, will then bring out the most effective value to what we are doing today. And I think that gives a lot more value than no relationship with vendors. That's my point of view.
I agree totally with your point of view, actually. I think that we have to move from transactional relationship with our suppliers to a partnership. We have been doing that in Mondelēz, especially with Rose and pack materials. The Oreo line I've shown before. As I said, the throughput of this line is 3 times bigger than the traditional lines. It means that the packaging material that we are using, the tolerance on the specifications is far smaller because the speed of those lines is, you can imagine, it's 12,000 Oreo per minute. So you need to have packaging materials very adapted. So it's, as I said, we are looking for suppliers who can add value to our business more than, reducing their cost. As far as indirect spend, so CapEx procurement is concerned, we have developed an initiative started 1 year ago. We call that D4V, which is designed for value. We organized a full-week workshop with each of our key CapEx suppliers, and we go open book through the design of their equipment with them to see, it's a kind of value engineering, if you wish, but we go into the details and see what is adding value really to our equipment or to the line, and then to avoid, nice to haves or things that are not really useful. It means also from the supplier tremendous change in the way they do business, because opening their book is not easy. It means they have to be transparent, with how they build their price. But most of them are accepting to play this game, and it's really fruitful. And actually, I'm very happy because 2 weeks ago we have been invited to the World Procurement Awards, which will take place in London on May 18, and we are among the 5 finalists among 120 companies to probably, I hope, win this World Award. So because of this initiative, Design for Value, it's really great, and it has brought us a lot of benefits, and it's really win-win because the suppliers is having more business, he understands better our expectations, and we are receiving more from the supplier itself.
Exactly, Laurent. I think when we speak about collaboration, collaboration is not only made by number, but is made by relation within, let me say, business animals that stands in different organizations. I have to share some part of the information. And so sometimes I experimented that it's quite obvious the value that is in place, because I think it's being a supply chain in both sides, too much field of engineer. The engineer with number can collaborate. But the point is, first of all, align inside the animals that you have inside your company, sales guys, sales key account manager, and allow what could be the overall presentation of value to each customer, and then be a team in front of a customer in order to feed this kind of personal relation that is really important. I think at least in every country, in every different culture, any collaboration has started because one has got the key for the interest of the other one, or vice versa, independently from which kind of function. And then you need to find a proof of a concept very, very soon. When you have found a proof of a concept, because anyone, when approach a collaboration overseas, first of all, that is an additional work. And anyone is reluctant to have additional work for what, especially when somebody else from another organization is asking you or bothering you some weakness. So you have to find the real value to see the weakness. Don't, let me say, over-highlight this weakness. Like for OJA, for example, in the OJA different project that we have, is important to find a way where clearly mostly of the bottlenecks are in the retailer point of sales or in retailer distribution. We are not master on that. We are not there one, but you need to be very humble to find a day-by-day proof of a concept that the value is also to decrease the work that internally you have to do. Once you have started that, I think it's really important that you have your team in supply chain very competent. That's why I think the personal value that you have inside is key. Good relation in the community of experts that you have inside each nation, but it's important to size the collaboration for each client. I have a different example. And the relevance is not really the key. It's obvious that when you are relevant for a client is even more easy. But it's not given that you have this result. I have last week example for Amazon. We started in another country, Amazon. We are nothing for them in that country. We approach us with the standard vendor package. We have got it, and we come back to them to be quite, propose ourselves as a consultant in some way. To do why, and asking the right, it's important to ask the right question in an open way. And then I think the ball starts to roll, and otherwise you close and go. Very easily.
Okay, thanks your guys' view, and treat our supplier as a partner, share information, trust is very important. I like get more interactive with our audience. 那下一边的在座的来宾，你们有没有一些这个特别的问题想跟我们台上的嘉宾
So now do you have any questions for our panelists? Now a show of hands, please.
How we joint create value for the client and the customers. You mentioned about the supply-driven sales growth in the collaborative with the sales team. So you mentioned how we collaborate with them and actively getting all the data back to the backing operation system, so that we can always create the value when we be a partnership with clients or the customers. So how because it is very difficult to justify or quantify the value that actually bring by the supply chain versus its actual sales from the customer side. And it always make the top management hesitate and continue invest on talent and systems in this direction. So how you view this, and in your company, particularly in Barilla, and how you quantify that the sales generate or really contribute from the supply chain and from this capability building?
Good question. First of all, we don't use never the word justify, because it's important that it's important the measure. The measures are many. In terms of forecast, we use mean absolute percentage error, or for mean percentage error for each item categories. There are a lot of reports that, from a, let me say, a knowledge-based point of view, experimental rely for any supply chain that are different in terms of mix, in terms of sourcing system, in terms of complexity downstream. What is the chunk of value that is related to the better capability to forecast? And this is something that is within the supply chain capability, and it doesn't stand in other fields. So from other point, I say don't justify, because you are the one to have your stomach and your systems to say this is 110. What else could say differently from you in order to drive this conclusion that anyway forecast better is better for the business? There is someone in the room that say that forecast worse is better for the business? No. I think it's important this because it's the way you can manage better promos. That promos, as you know, is contradictory with supply chain management, because promo is, let me say, a problem for supply chain management, but is a great tool for sales. And as much as you collaboratively with the customer, that allows you to have space, people, merchandisers, hostess, and so on. So great display of sales tools to rely on experience that you have day by day, but promo by promo, and you see what is the value compared the similar promo when you haven't invested in forecast. Another point is on OSA. OSA is really measurable. So you have, for example, we have launched this pilot simply having a sort of point of sales in OSA, a sort of point of sale not in OSA, affecting by this the same warehouses. They are delivered by the same warehouse. In 2 months' time, we have seen the difference between the two. So it's allowing proof of concept, and then if you multiply this for any kind, give you back stability of the process, stability of the relation, mechanism that is automatic for the people within the process, you and the client, is a pay-per-pay. The thing is to find, I think, enough force inside the companies to start rolling. But after is something that, in this case, for us is, now the problem is to stop others to start, because we have to be consistent, and we need to invest in our resources to do. And so we have to select, is becoming selective by us, what is the next customer to get into.
Thank you, Stefano. Okay, Alfred, you have an add-on?
I'll just make a quick point. That's an interesting one in terms of how sales and supply chain work, right? Very often when I look at transformation projects, big supply chain transformation projects, in the projects that I was involved with from a DHL supply chain with other companies, most of the transformational work is actually initiated by the sales. It was actually the other way around. I'll just give you an example. Last year, there was a big transformational project I was asked to look at. I went to talk to the supply chain guys. They said, everything is good. I went to the sales guy, and within 1 hour, he gave me 20 items that I need to work on, and says that this is where my supply chain all screws up. And I was like, okay, fine. And then basically all those forms the proposition. And one of those propositions they are looking at, they say that currently I'm doing just port to port in terms of things, and I go in, but what I really want to do is not to use my distributors. I want to go further into the markets myself and everything else. And that's where I want my supply chain to be extended way beyond that and get direct feedback. And all this became the selling points of how we and the customers started to work on things. So I would say that from my opinion, it's a little bit different. Sales actually initiated a lot of these discussions because at the end of the day, the company has to earn from sales, and sales obviously need to have a say in terms of where these things, and often there are supply chain initiatives that can be done to support that.
Thank you, Alfred. 下一位。Who's next?
What's for lunch?
Yes. It seems time for lunch. Okay. Thank you.